We have breaking news now. A federal judge is temporarily blocking President Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship. The New Hampshire judge says he will certify a class action lawsuit on behalf of all the children affected by President Trump's EO and issue a preliminary injunction blocking it. You might remember just last month, the Supreme Court allowed President Trump to move forward on that executive order and limited the authority of federal judges to block the order without a class action. Let's bring in ABC News DC Bureau Managing Editor, along with ABC News contributor and legal analyst James Sample. So, Catherine, walk me through the details of this judge's order and what the judge is saying here.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one. There was a hearing in New Hampshire, about an hour-long hearing in New Hampshire, where the judge went over his order here. And what this is doing is blocking the Trump administration's executive order that was issued, of course, on February 20th. So when anybody who was born in the United States after that executive order was signed. So that's who this applies to. So it's important to point out that this lawsuit was filed in New Hampshire last month. It was brought on behalf of pregnant immigrants, 2 immigrant parents and their infants. Now, you just mentioned that it does come after the Supreme Court's order, or ruling, if you will, on the nationwide injunctions. Of course, this ruling comes from a federal judge in New Hampshire, but it does come after the Supreme Court's order. Now, what's interesting here is that the Supreme Court's order did leave the door open for challenges to seek relief by filing class action lawsuits, and that's what we are looking at here. So while the court did generally block this practice of nationwide injunctions, it did have those specific carve-outs. This is not a nationwide injunction. So these class action suits that you're seeing today essentially will achieve that same effect. So it will be interesting to see, of course, how this plays out through the courts, through the appeals courts, and how the appeals courts interpret the Supreme Court's ruling as it relates to this. But right now, of course, the judge is issuing this block on this executive order from going into effect for certain classes of people.